You see, they just expected you to just suck it up and deal with the abuse. They didn't care about your feelings. They didn't care about how anything was making you feel. The only thing that they cared about was the dynamic functioning the way that it needed to function, the way that it was functioning, what was considered the normal way that that dynamic was functioning, even if it was at your expense. You see, these people felt like they had to fulfill a role and have this certain position that kept them safe in this dynamic, even if it meant stepping on other people or walking all over someone, taking advantage of someone, being mean and cruel to someone, targeting someone. Because as long as it wasn't happening to them, it was okay. But they were okay with doing it to another person because that is what was considered normal in this whole entire dynamic. But eventually, though, you got tired. You got tired and you cut these people off from your life. And for some of these people, their life has gone into shambles. Shambles because they no longer have a scapegoat to to distract themselves from their own pain. You see, they targeted you because they had a lot of pain that they hadn't healed, they hadn't dealt with, they hadn't overcame yet. So they thought that if they would just dump all of their pain on a scapegoat, that it would distract themselves from their own pain. And they wouldn't have to deal with that pain because they're letting off that steam. But once the scapegoat was removed from the environment, now they no longer have that person to dump their emotions on. So they have to instead deal with their emotions on their own. And that's been difficult for them. And because they've been having to deal with it on their own, that is why their life is in shambles. So now they have to deal with their problems head on. They use you as a distraction for far too long, being mean to you, being cruel to you. It's over and done with now. That time is up in your life, and that time is up in their life to treat someone like that. And the time is up in your life to be treated like that by somebody else. You know, if you were ever to be mean back to them or ever to retaliate, they would try to tell you that you were crazy or that you need help or that you need therapy or whatever it is that you need to do to get yourself better. But it was all gaslighting. It was all reactive abuse. It was them poking the bear and pushing your buttons and then getting mad when those buttons were pushed. And even though you may need help, you may need some therapy, it's not because you're mentally unstable or that you're emotionally unstable. It's because, it's because you have been traumatized. You have been through abuse. You have been through trauma. And that has lasting effects on a person. It affects your brain. It affects all areas of you. And it's just getting the help that you need to heal and overcome from your experience, from your abuse, from your trauma. Your help is to help heal your trauma. Not because you're this deranged, crazy person that's emotionally unhealthy and unstable. No. You got sick by other people that were sick. They were sick and they didn't deal with themselves. They didn't deal with their own illness. So they made other people sick with their illness. That's how you got sick. Because they're sick. Because they are. And they just expected you to just lay there and take it. They just expected you to just sit there and put up with everything and just accept everything that they were giving you. But no, you're no longer accepting it. You're not accepting that type of behavior anymore. You're not allowing that in your life. And you're doing what you can to create distance from those people, from that environment, so that you are no longer stressed out in your daily life. Don't let these people stress you out in your daily life. You are worthy of so much better, and your life is not meant to be you suffering and stressed out all the time. No, that's not a life worth living. Your life is worth living. Forgive me for saying that. Let me say that better. That's not a life that you would want to live. That's just merely existing. Take your take your power back. Take your power back. Take your voice back. See, they've been trying to stop my voice about this because this message needs to be heard. It needs to be spoken. Take your life back. Take your voice back. Take your power back. Take it all back.